Good evening, Sight friends. It's Mitty Man coming at you again from Walks Music with yet another word for the day. Tuesday morning, Tuesday night edition, I should say. We just want to give God all the honor, glory, praise for all that He does and all the things that He has done in the past and all that He will do in the future. We give Him all the glory. Thank God for each and every one of you, Sight friend. You know who you are. You see my title of my video tonight. It said, Learning by Doing. Mind you, people, I never had no claim to fame about wanting to be what you say, an educator. It's not my cup of tea, but I did that myself, venture off, and I did get my education as far as music, business, and whatnot. And I'm a firm believer in this here policy because I know it to be true. You learn by doing. That's where you learn. And it's a lot of repetition. Repetition. In other words, in the study of music, excuse me, in the study of music, for instance, you just don't jump up and automatically you start playing an instrument. You don't do that. You just don't jump up and start doing it. It's a lot of practice, repetition, and this is the way you learn, and it becomes automatic. After countless hours of practice, oh, I tell you the truth, I can remember back, even before I entered into junior college, I took piano lesson a whole year before I entered junior college. And I remember spending countless hours in the music building up at Andrew College, as well as the main building of the main halls of what we call. And we had in the main building up in the auditorium, we had a baby grand piano up there, and I used to be up there all times of day and night, practicing scales, chords, arpeggios, scales, chords, arpeggios. But that was the secret. It was repetition. This is where you have to learn. Now you can't expect a person that have never had any musical training just automatically get up and play a Mozart sonata. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It takes countless hours of practice and discipline in order to do that. And like I said, everything is done by repetition. You learn by repetition and practice. In other words, examples. You get a student to learn by, first you got to give them exercise. And then once you give them exercise, you got to give them some real world examples of how things should be done. In other words, you take a picture, you show a student, this is the way the picture should look. Then you reverse and go back to the beginning and show them how to get to that point by examples and repetition. And the more they do it, and the more they practice, and the more they do it, it becomes automatic. That is the learning process. But like I always say, and I got Bible study tonight, people, and I tell people all the time, you can't teach something you don't know. Why in the world would you send somebody to learn music? Would you send a child to learn music from a brick mason? Think about it. Huh? You don't send a doctor. You send a doctor to medical school, not a music conservatory. People, you cannot teach what you don't know. You have to have knowledge in order to transfer it. If you don't have any knowledge, how in the world are you going to transfer any knowledge to anybody else? So in other words, you must first be qualified. And then you'll be able to perhaps transfer the knowledge on along the line. This is just what I tell people all the time. You people talk about, I don't know the Bible. Well, that's because you don't study. That's why you don't know it. You can't know something you don't study. Something you don't do, how can you know it? So in other words, people talk, well, I would be better. No, you wouldn't be better. No, you wouldn't. You got to study the word. You got to study the word like anything else if you're going to be good at it. But the thing about the word of God is not whether you're being good at it or not, because see, first of all, we all come short. See, there's not one person out here could talk about nobody else, because we all have come short. And there's something, you may not be doing what I'm doing, but there's something you're doing. It don't make no difference. That equalizes us all. We all sit in the same boat together. So ain't no sense just because you may not be doing this over here. Ain't no sense you getting Mr. Goody Two Shoes or Mr. Goody Two Shoes thinking you more than me or more than the next person just because you don't do that. Because it is something that you do. In other words, it's something that you are doing. It may not be this, but it's that. So in other words, this is the thing we always been saying, like I said, people, we learn by doing. If you want to be a good Bible student, you must study the Bible. If you want to be a good musician, you must study the disciplines of music. If you want to be a doctor, you must study medicine. In any field you going into, any kind of knowledge you going into, you must study to show yourself approved. Now you just ain't going to jump up a ladder, you climb a ladder. You don't jump, I ain't never seen nobody jump up a ladder, you climb it. Wrong by wrong. So in other words, this is the way everybody learns. As a child, you learn by listening. How do you think a child just automatically become knowing the language? That he or she will learn the language that she grows up around. If she grows up around someone Hispanic, she will learn Spanish more than likely. She'll pick it up because he or she hears that language all the time, and they piece the sentences together, and lo and behold, they speak in Spanish. They wasn't taught that. They grew up in that environment. Come on, people, get with it. You didn't know English. You heard your mom and your dad and the people that you grew up around speaking, and you learned to speak by listening. That's how you learn to speak. Didn't nobody give you no textbook. You don't never see no little old child with a textbook. No. But they learn to talk. Why? Repetition. They hear it all the time. And then they learn to put them words and sentences together just like you and I. And then guess what? Now they're speaking the language of what? English. Come on, people, get real. You can't teach what you don't know. It's many man saying whatever you get into. If God ain't in it, get out of it. Because it's going to come to nothing. See you in the Bible study. Peace and goodbye.